How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Flint, Michigan, and an update on the so-called water crisis a few years back. Now, in case you don't remember about the whole water crisis, I'll give you a quick refresher here. Back in 2015, the city of Flint, Michigan, which had been beat to the ground by liberal policies for years and years and years, was broke, and they decided to change their water source from what it was, which was buying water from Detroit, to using the Flint River directly. However, maybe they didn't anticipate the fact that the Flint River was highly acidic and it would corrode the lead pipes in the city. As a result of that, their parts per billion in the water went way up above the federal action level of, I think, 15? It went to 20. So it was very high. People were getting sick. I think 12 people died. Others got injured. It was a real problem. It was a serious issue. As a result of that, it was this whole big national outpouring of outrage, a crazy response. The governor at the time declared a state of emergency, and they were able to get funds from the state and federal government that amounted to about $650 million within them. They were able to actually fix their problem and get the water back to normal, I think, by as late as 2016, maybe 2017. It was a gradual process. The first thing was changing the water away from the Flint River. That happened like right away. Then it was a gradual process of fixing the pipes and all that kind of stuff, getting water to where it's supposed to go. I think that really kicked in 2016, and then by 2017, the water was just fine. So as we sit here right now today, no, the water in Flint is not poisoned. Yes, the water is fine. So when you see people talking about, oh, it's a daily reminder, Flint does not have clean drinking water, that's a lie. That is not true. Their water is just fine. Matter of fact, their parts per billion, even in the most high risk areas, is only about 4 parts per billion. That's better than Saginaw, Hamtramck, Benton Harbor, and other cities in Detroit you don't hear about at all having a water problem. Matter of fact, I'll place a graph on the screen before you. The water in Flint is almost the equivalent to the water in Detroit, which is where they were buying water from the very beginning. Now, how much of that $650 million was spent on the water? To take a wild guess, I'll give you a moment to figure out how much they spent on the water. Let's break it down piece by piece. How about that? They spent $25 million to replace the pipes. Then another possibly $6 million to fix the pipe replacement. I'll get to that in a minute. Then there was $6 million initially to switch the water source away from the Flint River. So I'm not a mathematician over here. I'm not Albert Einstein, but 25 plus 6 is $37 million. But they got $650 million, to be more exact, $647 million. So where did the other $611 million go? Where did it go? What's going on with it? It got spent on a bunch of things that only quote unquote progressives can dream of, which is a direct quote from an activist in the city of Flint. It got spent on things like child daycare. They spent money, I kid you not, to pay residents of Flint between $25 and $50 to sign up for government benefits. Okay, so if you go down to the welfare, you sign up for government benefits, they would pay you to do that. $50, thank you, appreciate you. For government benefits, they pay you to do it. Basketball was on here. They got a youth basketball league in the city. When I saw that, I couldn't help but just bust out laughing. I was in a debate, many of you guys may have seen, with the guy Destiny, and then he was talking about all these poor kids that don't have gyms, and I was like, man, basketball is always the answer for the leftists. Oh, the kids need more basketball, that'll help. All we do in the ghetto is play basketball. I'm talking about all day, all night. So what's a good gym in the school and more basketball, night basketball, youth basketball league, neighborhood basketball courts? What is that going to do for kids that already play basketball 24/7? I mean, even if there is no gym or no court right where you live at, we travel. Okay, I remember being like middle school, high school, definitely high school, when we starting to get cars and whatnot, being able to be more mobile. We would go to certain places to play basketball. Like, you spent money on the thing we're already doing, a place like Flint, you got kids that probably can't read at all by the time they get to the third grade. I'm talking about C-Spot Run. What's that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw this video on Instagram, and it really made me sad. It was this girl who had a phone. I don't know if it was her phone or what, but the girl couldn't have been no more than 6 years old. And she was recording herself talking in the phone, and she sent it to her aunt. And then the aunt texted back, cute, C-U-T-E, cute. The girl recorded a video back to her aunt and said, hey, can you say that for me? I can't read. So you can use a phone, record video, send it, respond via video message, but you can't read it all. With that going on, you want to talk about basketball and just other things, free, like, we need to focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic, not basketball or other liberal fantasy BS. And not spending money that you don't have, because let's be clear, Flint had been running to the ground by liberal policies. That's why they switched to the Flint River to begin with. They're broke. They don't have any money. They can't really afford to keep buying water from Detroit. So they said, okay, rather than buying the Detroit water, which is making us even more broke than what we are, let's use the river right there. They didn't even think, oh, we got to fix the pipes. And then, not just talking about basketball and free health care and the money for government signups. Beyond that, there was also plenty of corruption in this whole situation as far as getting the pipes dug up. An NBA player had a company that was able to excavate, but they were using like backhoes to dig up yards rather than the hydrovac, which is much more efficient and less costly than people just, with a shovel or a back, like a hand tool trying to dig up people's yards to see what kind of pipes they got and replace it. Okay. It was a bunch of political favors going on. A lot of different things were done here that just point towards government corruption. All that the money did, I think they got $390 million from the state and the rest from the federal government. I think all that the money did was enable a corrupt and Democrat-led place like Flint to continue to be more corrupt. And the city, let's not forget, Flint is a small place. 96,000 people in the city is not a very big place. So $647 million for 90,000 people. I mean, you should be able to fix pretty much everything in the city, and you should be just fine. You should be able to bring economics back into the city. If the money won't go towards the water, specifically, at least spend it on things that make sense. Don't be talking about youth basketball and daycare and all of that BS. Spend it on some real things that actually bring economics back into the city. But liberals aren't really worried about trying to generate economics for the citizens. All they want to do is just pacify them with more handouts. They couldn't afford to do it back before the water crisis. Now that they got the water crisis money, they can afford to do it. And I'm willing to bet that most of the money is gone. A thing happened like this in Newark, New Jersey, where Mark Zuckerberg gave them like $100 million for their school system. All the money vanished. Consultants and accountants and this person and that person. Raheem still can't read. Same thing going on in Flint. Okay. The water crisis is over and the people there are still pretty poor. It's still a pretty impoverished place. All that money didn't even go to where it's supposed to go. It's really a crying shame. They could have fixed that problem with a fraction of the money, which is what they did. Okay. Because like I said, the water is back to normal, but the other money got squandered. This is what the left does. They take a bunch of money that they get and then they spend it foolishly. This is the case in Baltimore, Maryland. They got the same kind of money. Elijah Cummings, that is. I think he got close to the billions in loans, other kind of grants and everything else. Where did the money go? West, east, north, south Baltimore, still pretty bad, still ghetto. The county is beautiful, but the inner city is terrible. I'm talking about like really bad. Zombie land in the inner city. Seriously, not even exaggerating. Really, really bad. Think like South Bronx in the 70s. That kind of bad. With all this money coming into your particular city, where is it going? Liberal policies don't work. Look no further than these liberally ran places. It's really simple. The city council, the mayor, everybody just has no idea what they're doing. They're all corrupt. You got a lot of cronyism happening, a lot of mismanagement happening, and the people have to suffer. And I got to add one last thing here. The water crisis in Flint was pretty bad. I mean, like I said, I think at least 12 people died, others got injured. It was bad, but it's most certainly overblown. It's not as bad as they say, and it's been fixed for quite a long time. The water source got addressed 5 years ago, and it's been back to normal for at least about 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 years, as far as like the parts per billion. So people, I think, are still trying to hang on to this as a talking point. Maybe to get some money from private donations and whatnot. If you're going to get that money, that's fine. But just be honest. Don't say that there's still a problem in Flint when it's not. If there is a problem, it's not with the water. It's with the people that are in leadership who are damaging their citizens. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Are you surprised that most of the money that was supposed to be for the water emergency got squandered? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or do you think the money went to noble causes, youth basketball, free daycare, all this, that, and the third? And you know the excuse for the daycare was that daycare workers would be able to monitor the kids to see if they had any kind of signs of lead poisoning. Like, your parents can't do that for you, but I digress. The point is that this whole thing was fraudulent. The money got squandered. It didn't even really help. They could have used, like I said, a fraction of the cash, which is what they did to fix the immediate problem. It did not take $647 million. That's the long and short of that. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.